Hey everybody, Jake here from Bearded Gear, and I've got a quick full review to do for you because I need to put this in the mailbox. I've had it for way too long. I've taken too long to get this done, and I'm sending some knives to Kevin, left EDC today, and this is supposed to be in the package, and I need to get that done so I can get it to the post office, and I got a lot of stuff to do today. So, anyway, this is the CKF Gavko Tiger, and this was loaned to me by Joe, the Knife Whisperer, who you will find linked down below. Joe is hilarious. He's a really good knife reviewer, and he's become a buddy, and he's got a very funny channel. So check out his knife reviews if you haven't already. And yeah, so this is a CKF Custom Knife Factory build of a Gavko design. And this particular one, I forget where Joe said he got this from, but it came to him like modified like this. I forget who it was that did it, but it wasn't anodized by CKF. I think it was anodized by like the retailer that he bought it from. So this one has purple titanium scales, a blue titanium clip, and the blade on this guy is M390, and it's got this really nice kind of stone-washed finish on the flats, and then the bevels are really nice belt satin, and the swedge too. So pretty cool spec. I would never pick the purple and blue for myself, but it's interesting, and I know for a lot of people that would be a thing that would draw them in to the knife. So let's just be pretty concise about this one. I have carried this knife probably 5 or 6 times total, and I've had it for quite a while. I haven't really been all that excited to put this knife in my pocket for some reason. Like when it first got here, yeah, I was pretty excited about it. Carried it once or twice. I've done a very little bit of cutting with it, hardly any, because it's not my knife. It's gorgeous, and it just, yeah, I haven't felt super compelled to like do a ton of testing with it or anything. I have found that it cuts fine. The edge profile is pretty good. You've got the benefit here of it being a tanto where you've got kind of this little secondary point right there. The tip is super pokey stabby. This is a very stabby knife, and it's a really interesting blade shape, but it works. The little bit of cutting I've done with it through some paper, a little bit of cardboard and opening packages, it's been great. The blade performs well. I think, I don't know, Gavko aesthetics are pretty polarizing. I think a lot of people love them, myself included. A lot of the time when I see Gavkos, I'm like, ooh, that looks really, really cool, especially the customs. He does some really wild stuff, and they look awesome, but they're pretty crazy. I find the ones that I'm most attracted to often are the most muted ones at the end of the day. This is just a little bit more wild than I prefer to have in my pocket in terms of like the 2 points on the swedge and this crazy blade profile, and even the handle has these like points on it, and it ends up being comfortable in hand, which we'll talk about, and like it's functionally very good. It's just a little more wild than I prefer in a knife at the end of the day. So yeah, I've carried it a handful of times. I've used it a very little bit, and I just haven't felt that like excited about it. And maybe that's a timing thing of the other things I've had coming in lately, or I don't know, but it's not anything against this knife particularly. I can see why a lot of people would be really excited about it. I think it's just not quite my style, and I don't know. I've liked it, but I haven't loved it. Like I haven't felt any kind of spark with it, if that makes sense. So let's just, for whatever that's worth, let's move on and go through from point to point on how I would rank this knife, I guess. So ergonomically, this knife is very good in a hammer or a saber grip. These ergos, the way that there's this nice little kind of groove up there, next groove down here, final groove down here, like my hand lands on it well, and it feels nice in a saber grip, hammer grip, very, very comfortable. I like it. In a reverse grip, also very comfortable. I like that you've got this giant guard down here, especially in a reverse grip. That makes me feel more secure if I were to kind of pierce into something that way. Keep my hand from sliding down. That's nice. Reverse grip draw cut, it's fine. It doesn't feel the most appropriate on this knife, but it's doable. Forward grip draw cut actually feels pretty good. I like that. That feels nice to me. Yeah, this guard is really something too. The way that this flipper tab extends so far down, it really feels different than a lot of knives having so much material there to stop you from sliding forward. But it's not uncomfortable at all. It's kind of nice. It just sticks out quite a bit. The only thing that I could see being a bummer about that, I guess, would be two things. One, if you're cutting down into something, this flipper tab is going to contact the surface way before the blade. So then you're really, like, I don't know, you're inhibited from getting this part of the blade into something if you're pressing down into it to cut it. The other thing is, when this knife is closed and in your pocket, that is a ridiculously, like, pokey protuberance off of the knife at the already thickest part of the knife in pocket. So that's kind of a bummer that it gets so wide and sticks out so much there. I think this knife, if it was flipperless and had a hole for deployment, I would be way more excited about it personally, but it is what it is. So yeah, ergos are good. Let's talk action. Something I've noticed about quite a few CKFs at this point, now that I've handled quite a few lately, is that especially on the ones with flipper tabs, the detent is lighter than I would prefer. It's not like it fails on deployment. Like, let me see if I can try to fail it. Yeah, if I try to fail it, it's not that difficult to get it to fail. But when I'm not trying to fail it, when I'm using it, it goes all the way. But it just feels, I don't know, I would like this detent to be like 3 times stiffer. It's very underwhelming. Like, at this point, yeah, I'm noticing it's more if I really torque it that I'm getting it right. And that's with the blade straight up. So if it's not straight up, then it flies out with way more authority, sure. But it's an underwhelming detent compared to many others. You feel the crispness of when it deploys. It's not like it's unpredictable or anything. Like, it's a distinct break. It's just not enough pop at the end of the day. Like, it should be stiffer, in my opinion. Other than that, the knife is super smooth. The action is very drop shutty. This blade is pretty fun to play with when you're getting it right, but it would be more fun if that detent was stiffer. I'm pressing on the lock bar. Come on. Yeah, so action, I don't know. I'd give it like a 5 out of 10. Like, it deploys fine. It closes in a really fun way, but opening, it's not that fun at the end of the day to open a whole bunch of times because the detent isn't as crisp as I would like it to be. This knife is going to left EDC next, and I am 99% confident he is going to rag on that detent because he hates soft detents. So next, let's talk carry. For me, the carry is also not great on here. It's not that the knife is heavy or thick this way at all, but it's very thick up here. And granted, that's the part that's deepest in your pocket, so it's way better than the knife being thick up here. But it's also, like, this pocket clip is very pleasant going in and out of pocket. It's got a good amount of tension, decent room underneath it. Like, it's not a problem, but it leaves a lot of knife sticking out of your pocket. And in this case, it's purple and blue that's sticking out of my pocket. I don't like that. And yeah, I mean, it's just the thickness down here, how tall it is in pocket, how not deep carry it is. It's just, to me, it's like, I don't love having this knife in pocket. It is thin this way, and it is very smooth. I'll give it that. So it's not bad to carry, and it's not overly heavy, like I said. So, like, it's not super uncomfortable in pocket, but it's not even close to what I prefer carry wise. So there's that, I guess. And then cutting, I already kind of mentioned, I've only done a little bit of cutting with it, but it's done fairly well. This blade does pretty good at cutting. It's not the best, it's not the thinnest, sliciest knife I've ever felt, but if you're getting this knife to be a user EDC knife and you're doing a lot of opening packages and cutting cardboard and some zip ties occasionally, all that kind of stuff, it'll be great. If you're getting this as a self-defense knife, I think it would actually make a really compelling case with the dramatic guard and then with this crazy tip and the kind of tanto profile. I could see this being an excellent self-defense knife. Not that I'm an expert in that arena, so maybe talk to an expert before listening to what I say about it. But yeah, I mean, the blade shape and profile lends it to be a pretty good cutter, and it's just mean looking. So cutting performance is fine. Yeah, so at the end of the day, I think, to encapsulate it all, it's fine. It's a knife that I can respect a lot of people wanting and kind of lusting after because it looks the way it does. But it's one of those knives that has really polarizing looks. And I don't find myself on the side of that polarizing where I'm excited by it. Instead, I find myself a little bit turned off by it. But yeah, I mean, it's nice. It's well put together. I wish the detent was stronger. I wish it had a deeper carry clip. I wish it wasn't purple. But I wish it was a hole instead of a flipper. That would be good too. Other than that, I mean, it's put together well. It just isn't aligning with my preferences. So let's call it that. Anyway, this is the CKF Gavko Tiger, and I appreciate Joe for lending it to me. Again, his channel will be linked down below, and we'll see you guys on the next one.